Welcome in. It is that time to talk good news. My name is Chip Brewster. I'm a national digital host with Nexstar Media, and this is Across America Good News Edition, where I look at our stations across America and I look at those local feature stories for some of the things that'll just make you smile, maybe bring a tear to your eye, touch your heart a little bit. It's cool because these are stories that if you didn't watch this show or live in that community, you probably would never see otherwise. What are some of the stories that we're going to see on today's show? Well, the first one to talk about anyway is hunting in Kentucky. Not the kind of hunting that you're thinking of, though. Teaching the art of the sword. A woman celebrates quite the birthday. They're teaching them young in Texas with barbecue. They're also teaching them young as far as girls hockey goes. And then another young man, young is one of my themes in this show, who wrote a book on when's the right time for a kid to have a cell phone. The middle schooler is the one that wrote that book. We'll find out if he successfully got a cell phone out of that story, but I'm definitely interested in what's in the book. Before we get to those, though, we're going to start with a couple that it's making the best out of a bad situation and make us smile because we see some of the good of humanity. The first one from our station KRON in San Francisco, California. I've done these stories before, but it's been a while, so I wanted to bring one back about a group of superheroes taking some time off from their crime-fighting abilities to bring smiles to some kid faces.
Is Spidey?
All right.
Spidey again.
I love Spider-Man, so when we got to choose superheroes, I chose Spider-Man.
That's right. Talk about a supercharged start to the weekend. On Friday, beloved heroes like Spider-Man, Deadpool, The Incredibles, and Batman traded saving the world for something just as meaningful, lifting spirits, greeting young patients at Lucille Packard Children's Hospital in Palo Alto.
To get to come here and put smiles on their faces, we're just really grateful for the opportunity to get to do this for the kids.
This is Jared Goodwin. He and his fellow heroes fight crime part-time and work full-time as professional window cleaners.
A child 2 years ago that he was sick in his room, but the father said he was a huge fan of Spider-Man, so he put me on FaceTime on the phone with the kids so I could say hi to him and everything.
Lowered by this rope, the heroes carefully washed windows while greeting young patients, like this kid who even had on Spider-Man shoes.
Wow. They didn't get to see your shoes upstairs.
No, I didn't get to see the shoes.
And this young one gave the heroes a sticker gift.
What?
Oh, that's
No way.
Oh,
no
Dax,
way. This
Super
is
Dax.
My favorite superhero.
Piper Church, a staff member here, says this is always a fun time for kids.
And the kids just love it. It makes them so happy.
How are you today?
Good.
Spider-Man, a father himself, says he speaks for the other heroes and staff when their top priority is keeping the kids in good spirits.
So to be able to have the superheroes come and put a smile on their kids' face and kind of make them forget about what they're going through even for a moment, I know as a father how grateful I'd be for that.
Just makes them feel normal, for the lack of a better word.
For over a decade, superheroes from Trans-Pacific and Century Pyramid Building Maintenance have been visiting children at Lucille Packard Hospital. Reporting in Palo Alto, Lindsay Ford, KRON 4 News.
I know I said I've done that story before. It's always a good story. And, you know, you always see Spider-Man, which makes a lot of sense. He's the one that crawls on the outside of buildings. Him and Batman, I feel like I see whenever I get to the chance to witness one of those superhero visits children's hospital stories. So that's, again, one of those, it's a sad situation, but there's a smile because you're seeing the best of humanity at work. This next one is the same type, coming to us from our station KHON in Honolulu, Hawaii. For those that don't know what's been happening there on the islands, torrential rain has caused quite a bit of flooding for Hawaiians. And this is a group that saw that and stepped up to bring their skills to do something good. Make a tasty meal.
Flood victims and those in need are finding support all the way from the East Coast in the form of cooking.
Mercy Chefs is a faith-based organization that is based in the mainland, and they go around the world and they just help out when there's disasters. And they're a nonprofit organization, you know, they're here to help us.
Volunteers from Mercy Chefs flew in last week Monday.
Ballpark meals we've sent out already is over 10,000 hot meals. And then we've donated in raw groceries to the community about 10,000 hot meals as well.
Mercy Chefs set up shop here in Wahiawa in a kitchen specifically designed for food prep during emergency situations. And those meals get distributed island-wide, from Haleiwa to Waimanalo to anywhere affected by the flooding for anyone who could use a hot meal.
As soon as we found out that the Mercy Chefs were here, we then started contacting all the different businesses and locations that we could mobilize to create the food and then to distribute.
Mercy Chef volunteers will leave Hawaii tomorrow, but will leave behind a lot of food left to give.
We have a surplus of leftover food, and so what we're going to be doing with that food today is we're going to be donating those to the IHS as well as to the River of Life mission so that they can continue the mission to feed those who are in need.
But as recovery continues, restaurants continue to ask the community's support.
Right now, the restaurants and businesses in Haleiwa and Wailua really need your support. You know, they also have payroll to meet and rent to pay. And with zero sales, since the message went out to stay away from this area, they really need our community to support. So
Nathan Shinagawa, KHON2 News, working for Hawaii.
And I'll tell you, not only smile to the face to see them doing that work, but a little bit of drool in the mouth, if I'm being honest. It looked like some really good food. So thank you, Mercy Chefs, for not holding back on the type of grub that you were providing to those in need. Another story for you, this one coming to us from our station KDVR in Denver, Colorado, and it's celebrating a life well lived, a life still being lived, and a woman who has eclipsed the century mark by more than a decade. She shares some advice at the very end of the story. So stick around, listen to the whole thing. It's worth it.
This was an absolute first for us. Never before has a live band been brought in to perform just because we were shooting a story. But then again, when you've lived as long as Irma Palmer has, every day is a celebration. That number on the wall is hard to believe, but it's true.
It's got up there so high, 100 and what, Deborah? 109, February the 28th.
They had a big party. Even Aurora Mayor Mike Kaufman showed up to wish her well.
I thought I was too darn honored to ever get that old.
Born in Alabama, she came to Colorado when her husband was assigned to Lowry Airfield in the late 1950s, the last of his many military assignments.
He was in the Air Force. We were in Germany 3 years. We got to travel all around, saw a lot of things, went many places, and did a lot of things. Well, we settled down with 5 kids in Aurora, Colorado.
She lost her husband a couple of decades ago.
Well, I miss him so much. He was a wonderful man.
Pictures are reminders of his service to our country.
Wonderful husband.
But often forgotten is the service of people like Irma, military spouses and families who sacrifice so much while their loved ones wear the uniform and protect us all.
So because of everything that you've done in this community, because of the sacrifice that military families have so often that they don't get credit for, we are giving this to you and naming you the Fox 31 Serving Those Who Serve Hero of the Month for April 2026.
Thank you so much.
Now, perhaps Irma's next award will be for living longer than anyone else.
Oh, yeah. You want my autograph?
I do. I'd like it.
Born when Woodrow Wilson was president, the year the U.S. entered World War I. Old enough to remember when a new car cost just $500.
Oh, she got her driver's license renewed when she was 100.
She's lived far longer than she ever expected and inspired her daughter and other loved ones every single day of their lives.
Oh, it's just unbelievable. And every day is a blessing. And it's so funny whenever we go anywhere, people will say, "She's what?" And they're like, "Irma, can I shake your hand? I've never known anybody this age." And, you know, it's an honor. So really, she really gets the hoorahs out there in the public.
Well, I got so much honerness in me. The good Lord's having a hard time getting it out.
Maybe there is some truth to that, considering her answer to the question, what is the secret to living to the age of 109?
Well, the first thing was drinking White Lightning.
Wait, what's White Lightning? Is that moonshine?
Moonshine. Okay. And the second thing was chasing good-looking men.
Oh, now we know. The secret is out.
I love that story. I mean, from the get-go, where she had to ask someone how old she had turned. She wasn't just living in the present, to then the answers at the very end there. Now we all know moonshine and chasing good-looking men, and you find yourself to be 109 years old. I love it. I love her. I hope she makes it to 110 so we can see another one of those stories. I don't know why I had to adopt a bit of a Southern accent just because I heard it in my ear. I apologize. We better go to break so I can break this habit. I'll see you on the other side. It took a second. I had to remember who I was and where I was from, and I got the Southern thing out of my mouth. So hopefully that doesn't return. I apologize if I offended anybody. Know that it was because I saw an adorable 109-year-old and could not help myself. Okay, next story, shall we? This one coming to us from our station KLST in San Angelo, Texas. And this whole block, I got 3 stories for you before another break. It's all about some kids doing some cool things. And this one being Texas, they're learning how to barbecue. In fact, they're doing a barbecue competition.
Dozens of kids ages 6 to 17 fired up the grill and got to work in the San Angelo Stock Show and Rodeo Kids Cook-Off. From seasoning and sizzling pork chops to plating their final dishes, each participant was judged on taste, presentation, and creativity. But for many, the competition is more than just a chance to win.
Some of these kids are going off to be, they're going to be a chef, or they're going into work in the restaurant industry. They're not competing out here just to compete. This is going to be their life skill.
Challenges like keeping food hot tested their skills, but the young cooks found ways to overcome them.
What was the hardest part about today?
Probably getting the coals to stay hot.
And how did you overcome that problem?
By keeping the vents open and leaving the lid slightly off of the grill.
Judges say the event is about more than taste. It's about keeping the art of cooking alive and training future talent for the restaurant industry.
Cooking is almost becoming a lost art, and so we are trying to get them really involved into the cooking scene. We need future employees.
No matter the outcome of the cook-off, judges hope the young cooks continue to develop their skills.
I hope they walk away with what a great experience they had. Whether they win or lose, it was just fun, that they continue to try it, and that they keep going and keep working on their culinary skills.
And whether they won or not, today's competition gave the young cooks a chance to learn, grow, and show off their talents. I'm Alexis Hernandez, reporting.
I don't know why I say everything in my power to not have a bit of a Texas accent coming back from that story. You're welcome. But really cool to see kids learning a trade like that, and honestly culture like that when we're talking Texas. So best of luck to all of them as they continue to develop their cooking and chef skills. Next story, another young person's story, if you will, coming to us from our station WNCN in Raleigh, North Carolina. And this one honestly doesn't surprise me, because you think about the Winter Olympics having happened recently. Team USA, both men and women, winning the gold. It is all about how girls junior hockey has been taking off, and a look inside the behind the scenes of some of the women helping to do that.
Girls youth hockey is growing rapidly in the Triangle. Sarah Swingle has played a major role in that growth. As the girls and women's hockey specialist for the Carolina Hurricanes, she also serves as the girls hockey director for the Carolina Junior Hurricanes, coaching both the 16U and 19U AAA teams. She's also helped open the door for even younger players. The Lil Lady Canes program introduces girls ages 6 to 11 to the sport with practices, skill development, and instruction from an all-female coaching staff.
I have created a monster in a really good way, because now girls don't want to leave the all-girl programming. So, some of the next steps, now we have to create a new route for these girls that have now been inside of this environment, who only want to play all girls because they love the locker room, they love being on the bench and talking about their favorite ice cream flavor and, what they did at school that day. And we have an all-female staff with the Little Lady Canes, so, seeing mentors and role models in their shoes, I think, is really important for them.
Programs like the Little Lady Canes mean many girls no longer have to be the only girl on a co-ed team or the only one in a locker room.
When girls are in co-ed programming, they're often in a locker room by themselves. You know, they might be a little bit isolated. They don't have their core group of people. It's just a little bit different. And not saying that, you know, boys aren't welcoming of girls in co-ed sports, but, you know, you just tend to be that outlier when a girl is on a co-ed team. So to have that here and for them to see women in like coaching roles, admin roles, or even like yourself and broadcasting roles, it allows them to see that they can do it.
The Junior Canes girls program is thriving with the 14U, 16U, and 19U AAA teams all winning the Southeast District Championship and advancing to the USA Hockey National Championship. One player, Apex native Lily Casero, committed to play college hockey at Wesleyan University, and she hopes that the program continues to inspire the next generation of female hockey players in North Carolina.
Well, first of all, being in North Carolina, it was a little scary at first because I was afraid I wouldn't get enough recognition, but I think it actually helped me in some ways being from the South, that I became easier to notice since there's not a large pool, and I always kind of knew I wanted to play college. And being a part of this program here, they train you really well for it, get you ready for like the practice programs and stuff.
And with more opportunities than ever before, the future of girls hockey in North Carolina is only continuing to grow.
And not just in North Carolina, truly across the country. When I'm talking about that 2026 women's Olympic gold medalist team, yeah, you better believe there was quite a few girls that expressed their interest in hockey in the country after that. Speaking of kids expressing interest, any parents out there have kids looking for a smartphone? They've seen you using it. Maybe they have friends with one. How do you have the conversation? What can you use to even guide the decision process? A middle schooler has got you, and that's what this next story is all about.
At just 12 years old, Aiden Ali is already a published author. The Short Putt Middle School student releasing his book, Before You Get a Phone, focused on a decision many families face.
It's a guide to help parents and kids decide if their child is ready for a phone.
Like many kids his age, Ali wanted his own phone and brought the idea to his parents. He says it was their conversation that inspired the book.
It hit me that, oh wow, other families must be going through the same problem. So I thought, and then I did some research and I realized that there was no guide for helping families with that.
Ali says the book isn't meant to persuade parents on a particular decision, but instead create room for having open communication with their kids about technology and responsibility.
Better, smarter conversation with each other, and both sides understanding each other as well. So,
were you able to get that phone?
No. I use my devices a lot. I game. And sometimes I'm just watching TV a lot too. So they thought I wasn't ready yet. And I get that.
A recent study in the Journal of Pediatrics found the earlier a child receives a smartphone, the higher their risk of developing conditions like obesity, depression, and sleep loss. Ali's guide addresses the addictive nature of social media while offering safety tips and alternatives like smartwatches that allow kids to stay connected without full access to apps. He says he'll likely get his own smartphone in high school and has come to terms with his parents' decision, sharing this message for other kids still waiting for their first phone.
It's not the end of the world if you don't have a phone. You know, you'll get it eventually when it's the right time.
I got to tell you, cool part of this job doing this show is I can kind of actually have a reaction. And that 12-year-old young man might be one of the most mature I've ever met, not quite met, but heard of. And if he's not getting a phone, then who can get a phone at 12 based on that guide? But still, just the way that he accepted it, so cool. If you're looking for more information on that story or any other story, check out the local website of the station Who Did It, which this one, by the way, WRIC in Richmond, Virginia. Perhaps you are, just like me, in need of that guide. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, two more stories, and they're kind of fun. Hunting for agates, you'll see what that is in a moment, and keeping the art of the sword alive. We'll be right back. We are back. First story of those two that we have left in the show. It's going to be the sword story, but this is a very specific type of sword work, and it's coming to us from our station KLAS in Las Vegas, Nevada. And if you are interested in pursuing it, then you can certainly join this class. Pretty cool.
AIDO. It's one of the oldest traditional martial arts, focused on quick strikes, draws, and resheathing of the sword.
The thing that I find the most interesting about AIDO is that it is, because it doesn't have the opponent, the immediate opponent, like say a kendo, any kind of fencing does, is that you can concentrate on making your motions as perfect as possible.
Stephen Parr is the head instructor of Makiba Dojo, a club aimed at studying AIDO and has been involved in this style for 23 years.
Our particular style, the headquarters are in Himeji, Japan. It's a little outside of Osaka. We've lost a few things of the style over the years just because a lot of the senseis are getting older and they don't get as many students in Japan.
AIDO originated in the 15 to 1600s in Japan. Originally known for its lethal combat, it has now evolved into a tool for personal growth and discipline.
Learning how to do the basics, learning how to draw, learning how to cut with the blade, the proper way to handle the blade, and always respecting the blade.
Marcus Carton says you want to focus on control and fluidity when holding the sword, while demonstrating good kata forms, which is to draw, cut, and sheath.
You want to be like calm when you're doing AIDO with the sword, because if you're like tense, if you have stuff like going on in your head, when you're gonna do a slash or a cut, you're gonna start like shaking.
For Katrina Ramos, learning AIDO wasn't always physical.
I was interested in AIDO because it provided structure in my life. It's really helped integrate into my personal life, where I think it allows me to focus more, just taking that step back, breathing, and then continuing my task forward.
It's all about preserving history while having fun.
Last year I took 14 of my students to Japan with me, and we went over there and got to train with Japanese senseis, got to do a taikai, which is a get-together, and perform on stage, so a lot of fun.
I really love the people here. They're very welcoming. It didn't take me long to fit in and feel like family.
That's what I'm talking about. The uniqueness of those local stories that you would not get unless you were in the Las Vegas area or watching this show. So cool. Very cool for me because I get to do this every single week. One more story for you before we wrap up this week's episode, and it's coming to us from our station WDKY in Lexington, Kentucky. And I'll tell you what, I actually learned a lot by watching this one. I hope you have a similar reaction, and maybe now we all know where to go to do this type of hunting.
These people are gathered in Irvine with a common quest to find gemstones known as agates.
That is the shape.
The clusters of minerals don't look like much from the outside, but there is breakthrough beauty inside.
You know, you're in an ancient seabed.
Members of the Southeast Kentucky Gem, Mineral, and Fossil Club lead hunts each spring to a creek on private property in Estill County.
We have more patterns and more colors and variation than most any place else.
So that's one, but it may not be pretty inside.
It's a treasure hunt that starts out rocky and stays that way.
And I do what I call a 110. I move 10 feet in 1 hour.
The biggest prize of all is to find a mineral known as the Kentucky agate. It has colors only found in Estill and surrounding counties, bands of deep red and black.
From pea size up to over 100 pounds. Some of them are worth thousands of dollars.
An agate is more of the needle in a haystack, so when you find it, it feels very exciting.
Agates can be found in other parts of the world, but true rockhounds know just how special the Kentucky agate is. I ran into people from Massachusetts and North Carolina who planned their vacations just to be here for this hunt.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Seasoned hunters say the best time to find an agate is after a heavy rain.
They've eroded out of these hillsides and things, and they've moved downhill into the creeks where they've washed down, and now you can find them here.
The guides love it when a newcomer makes a find.
You may hear us hoot and holler and pump them up and scream and be excited. It is very exciting.
But even if your hunt turns up empty, these folks can't think of a better way to spend a day.
It's like life. It's not so much the destination, but the journey. And I've never seen anyone come out of here not happy.
It's a pastime that takes patience, but it can pay off for those who keep their heads down and leave no stone unturned. In Estill County, Marvin Bartlett with the spirit of the bluegrass.
Another really cool one, and another one where I had no idea that Kentucky was home to this like nationally, maybe internationally known agate hunting area, right? We all learned something today, whether it was that story or one of the other ones, and I appreciate you joining me as we continue this Across America Good News Edition thing each and every week. Though that is going to do it for this week. Until the next one, I'm Chip Brewster. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you on a future episode of Good News Edition.